Chosen one, stop for a moment. This is not an accident. Heaven has interrupted your timeline because right now 3 angels are talking about your body. The noise of the world fades for a reason. God says, I need your 2 minutes. These next breaths are sacred. Because the message is about you, about the vessel that carries divine fire. You've been weary. Some mornings you looked in the mirror and barely recognized yourself. The reflection stared back with tired eyes. And you thought, I don't look like someone chosen. But heaven never called you by appearance, it called you by purpose. What you call weakness, God calls evidence of endurance. What you call brokenness, heaven calls the mark of a survivor. The angels are gathered, their voices weaving through eternity as they speak your name. The first angel says, this body has endured much, but it still stands. The second answers, every scar glows with proof of divine preservation. The third declares, now the vessel will be restored and made holy again. You may not realize it, but your body is sacred ground. Every breath you take is an act of grace. Every heartbeat, a signature of heaven. You thought you were just surviving, but you've been sustained. You are being watched, guarded, and prepared for something far greater than pain could ever explain. There were moments you resented your body, moments of exhaustion, shame, and imperfection. But heaven responds tonight, I shaped that body with intention. The one who formed galaxies also formed your frame. Not as an afterthought, but as a prophecy. You were not created to collapse under the weight of life. You were created to carry divine light through it. It is written in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 19. Do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? These words are not a suggestion, they are a heavenly decree. Your body is not a burden, it is a temple. The Spirit of the living God does not dwell in monuments of stone, but in living, breathing temples like you. Every inhale is proof that heaven still has work to do through you. The enemy has tried to make you despise the very thing God calls holy. Sickness, fatigue, insecurity, they were all designed to make you forget that you are divine territory. But the truth stands unshaken. When you understand that your body is the dwelling place of the Spirit, the enemy loses all claim. You stop fighting from weakness and begin living from authority. Listen closely. You don't need perfection to carry power. It's your humility, your vulnerability, your willingness to still believe. That's where the anointing flows. The angels are writing, even now, recording your response to this divine interruption. If your heart agrees, heaven marks this as the moment you remembered who you are. Place your hand over your heart for a second. Feel that rhythm. It's not random. That heartbeat is a message, a pulse from eternity whispering, you are still chosen. You are still mine. Your body is not the enemy. It is the altar. Every step you take, every breath you breathe, every tear you shed, heaven receives it as worship. The Creator looks upon you not with disappointment, but with delight, saying, this one still carries my fire. Lex, this is why the battle over your health, your peace, your confidence has been so intense, because the enemy knows the truth of what you carry. But now, revelation is breaking through. Your body is awakening to divine order again. The Spirit within you is stirring, preparing you for renewal that no sickness, no fear, and no shame can undo. If this word touches your spirit, don't ignore it. Respond, like this message, as a sign that you agree with heaven. Share it, so another soul remembers the truth about their temple. Comment 111 below as a prophetic act that says, I hear and I receive. And if you haven't yet, subscribe so you can stay aligned with every message heaven releases for the chosen. This is your 2 minutes of awakening. The angels are still speaking. Heaven is still recording. And as you breathe right now, God whispers once more, this body is mine, and I will dwell in it. And the angels encircle you, their wings shimmering with light, sealing heaven's decree upon your body. Every heartbeat now echoes divine strength and renewed purpose. Rise, chosen one. Walk, knowing your flesh is holy ground. Your breath, a prayer. Your movement, a prophecy fulfilled by the whisper of God's own power. The air feels different now. Something unseen begins to move around you, soft, like the brush of wings, yet powerful enough to make your spirit tremble. You sense that you are no longer alone in the room. Heaven is closer than it has ever been. 3 angels stand in quiet conversation, and the subject of their words is you. They do not speak in human language, yet you understand them. Their voices ripple through your soul like wind across still water. The first angel speaks of your beginning, the moment heaven breathed you into existence. This one carries the breath of the Almighty. The angel says, their body was never ordinary, it was sculpted by divine intention. When the second angel studies the rhythm of your breath, the rise and fall of your chest, and whispers, they forgot where their breath came from, yet it never left them. Every inhale still carries his fingerprint. The third angel kneels, placing a hand upon the ground where you stand. This body, he says, was chosen as the meeting point between dust and divinity. It is time they remember. You begin to feel warmth in your chest, a subtle, steady glow that spreads through your arms, your bones, your veins. It is not fire that burns, it is light that restores. You realize this sensation is recognition. Your spirit is remembering the truth that your mind forgot, that you were created by breath, sustained by breath, and destined to release breath as praise. It was proclaimed in the book of Job, chapter 33, verse 4. The Spirit of God has made me. The breath of the Almighty gives me life. Those words are alive within you now. They are not distant scripture. They are the pulse beneath your skin. The breath of the Almighty is not a memory. It is your present reality. Each time you exhale, heaven moves through you. Each time you inhale, you receive divine renewal. The angels continue their dialogue, not arguing, but weaving revelation together. They think the body is failing, says one. But what they call fatigue is transformation. Another responds. The human vessel groans when glory begins to expand within it. And the third concludes. This body is learning to host eternity. You feel the truth of it settle over you. The aches, the exhaustion, the weight you've carried, they were not punishments, they were signals. Signs that your body was preparing for a higher frequency of divine presence. Heaven was not ignoring your pain. Heaven was strengthening the structure of the temple so that more glory could dwell inside. Your body begins to feel like sacred architecture, every bone a beam of divine design. every vein, a corridor for the flow of spirit. You start to see how even the smallest detail carries significance. The scars you once hid are marks of testimony. The breath you take now feels like communion. You realize that for so long, you have treated your body as something separate from your faith, as if the sacred could only live in the unseen. But now you understand, the sacred lives in the seen as well. The Spirit of God doesn't only visit, He inhabits. He moves through the muscles that lift, the lungs that expand, the heart that refuses to stop. The angels' voices grow softer, almost like a lullaby. One speaks again, his tone gentle yet full of authority. When they finally understand this truth, they will no longer despise the physical. They will see that flesh can hold holiness. And you feel tears form, not of sadness, but of recognition. The revelation is simple, yet it pierces deep. You were never disconnected from heaven. The breath that first gave you life never left. Even in moments of despair, that same divine breath whispered within you, still here, still chosen. And the light inside you grows brighter now, stretching outward like dawn, breaking after a long night. You sense the approval of heaven, not because of perfection, but because of remembrance. The angels step back, satisfied. Their work in this moment is done, but their presence lingers, leaving an invisible mark upon you. And as silence returns, you breathe again, slower, deeper, sacred. The air fills your lungs like living light. You realize that this breath is not merely oxygen, it is covenant. The Almighty exhales, and you inhale. The cycle of divine intimacy continues. You are not a mistake. You are not just matter. You are a moving miracle, carrying the very breath of the one who spoke galaxies into being. The same spirit that hovered over chaos at creation now hovers over you, waiting for your awareness to align. And for the first time in a long while, you exhale without fear. The breath of God lives in you, and you finally know it. You stand still, breathing in the quiet that the angels left behind. Yet, even in their absence, the air remains heavy with glory. You begin to feel your own heartbeat as a language, each thump spelling out the word purpose. It is as if the heavens have planted a living script within your flesh, and every pulse of blood writes another line of divine intent. Your mind drifts toward the mirror again, but this time, you do not see the same reflection. You see the mantle. The body you once dismissed as ordinary is revealed as a vessel, carefully chosen to carry light. Heaven didn't choose your body for perfection, it chose it for endurance, for meaning, for testimony. When the angels spoke of your scars, they weren't pointing out damage. They were pointing out proof. Every scar, every ache, every line upon your skin tells a story of survival. The heavens saw you when no one else did, when you prayed quietly in the dark, asking why your body felt like both a blessing and a burden. And now, the answer unfolds. Your body is the battlefield where darkness was defeated again and again. The Word of God declares in the book of Romans, chapter 12, verse 1, "Offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your spiritual act of worship." That scripture isn't a demand, it's a revelation. To offer your body is not to harm it, but to honor it. When you use your hands to create, when your feet carry you toward your calling, When your heart loves even after being wounded, that is worship. Heaven never wanted empty rituals. It wanted living altars. You are that altar. Every movement of obedience, every act of kindness, every word of truth you speak with trembling lips, these are sacrifices that please God. You don't need a stage or a microphone. Your daily endurance is already a sermon. You feel the Spirit reminding you that holiness was never about flawless flesh. It was about willingness. To say yes to God with your body is to invite heaven into the most human parts of you. When you rest, when you heal, when you refuse to give up, that is sacred. And now, deep within, a subtle stirring begins. You sense something like oil flowing from the unseen into your being. It seeps into your hands, your legs, your lungs. It's the anointing that turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. You realize that your body has been waiting to agree with your spirit to work together instead of fighting each other. There's a moment of silence, and then you hear a whisper, not outside, but within. This is the moment of agreement. And your spirit answers, I understand. And heaven responds with warmth, an invisible embrace that wraps around your whole being. The division between spirit and flesh begins to dissolve. What was once conflict now becomes harmony. Your body is no longer a cage. It is the conductor through which glory travels. This is why you could never disappear into the crowd. The light within you made that impossible. You were not created to blend in. You were made to bear witness. When you walk into a room, spiritual frequencies shift. When you speak, something unseen listens. And when you choose to live with purpose, heaven echoes the sound of your obedience. So now, take a deep breath. Feel how the air moves through your chest. Slow and deliberate. That breath is not random. It is the continuation of a covenant first spoken before time began. The angels are listening for your acknowledgement, because heaven always records agreement. If your heart understands what is happening right now, comment, I rise again. In one, type those 3 words, not as a ritual, but as a declaration. When you say them, you affirm what heaven already knows, that your body is not defeated, your spirit is not broken, and your purpose has not expired. I rise again means the ashes no longer define you. The pain no longer commands you, and the past no longer owns you. Because from this moment forward, your body becomes the stage where resurrection performs daily. The mirror will never look the same, because now, when you see your reflection, you will see evidence of glory hidden in flesh. The angels whisper among themselves once more, and their voices fade into the distance. But one truth remains, echoing through your soul. The Spirit has taken residence, and your life is holy ground. And as silence settles again, heaven smiles your spirit, and body now move as one rhythm, echoing the eternal breath of God. The silence deepens, but it is not empty. It hums with unseen life, as though the air itself remembers the touch of angelic wings. You are aware of being watched, not in fear, but in awe, somewhere beyond sight. The conversation continues. Heaven is still speaking about you. The angels' voices intertwined like light and wind. Their words rise and fall in rhythm, each carrying a weight that touches both your flesh and your soul. You listen with your spirit, and suddenly their conversation becomes clear, not translated by the mind, but absorbed by the heart. The first angel begins, This vessel has endured both storm and silence. It carries the record of pain, yet also the melody of faith. The second responds, yes. But look at their scars. Those are not wounds of defeat, they are inscriptions of victory. Every mark has been sanctified by endurance. The third angel, quiet until now, steps forward. His voice carries the authority of one who has seen eternity unfold. Their body tells a story that hell could not erase. Every trial written into flesh has been rewritten in light. The vessel still stands because heaven refused to let it fall. End of chapter. As their words echo through your being, you realize that heaven has never viewed you through the lens of shame. You have been measuring yourself by exhaustion, by imperfection, by the moments when your body betrayed you. But heaven measures differently. It sees the evidence of persistence, the stubborn glow of faith that never died. The angels are not just talking about you, they are celebrating you. Not because you are flawless, but because you endured. The divine does not require perfection, it honors perseverance. The voice of heaven spoke in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 7. We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us. No. You feel those words settle inside your chest like a living seed. Treasure in jars of clay. You are fragile. Yes, but not empty. Your body, though human, carries the light of the eternal. Every limitation becomes a reminder that the power working through you is divine. The angels begin to circle slowly, their light brushing over your skin like sunlight through glass. You can almost feel the truth they speak taking shape in your veins. It is as if every cell of your body is remembering its original purpose to host glory, to channel heaven into earth. The first angel speaks again, softer this time. They thought the cracks disqualified them. He says, but cracks are where the light escapes. No, and suddenly you understand. Your brokenness was never your end. It was the opening through which grace could flow freely. Your pain made you porous, and now divine light can pass through you without resistance. The very places that once hurt the most have become gateways of healing. You feel your perspective shifting. No longer do you see your body as a burden. You see it as a vessel imperfect. Yes, but chosen. Every breath now feels sacred. Not because it is effortless, but because it continues despite everything that tried to silence it. The second angel moves closer, whispering, "Tell them to stop comparing their vessel to others. The design is unique, crafted for a specific calling. What they call weakness was engineered for empathy." And you absorb those words deeply. Perhaps the reason your body has felt so much is because it was made to understand others, to carry compassion like oxygen. Sensitivity is not a flaw, it is a divine function. Heaven made you capable of feeling deeply so you could love deeply. The third angel concludes, "The time of self-condemnation is over. This vessel belongs fully to God." And something lifts from your shoulders then, a weight you didn't know you were carrying. It's the heaviness of judgment, the silent shame you've held toward your own body. Heaven removes it gently, replacing it with peace. You stand quietly, breathing in the holy stillness. The angels remain near, but they no longer speak. Their presence itself becomes language, one that says, "You are seen, you are chosen, you are enough." For the first time in a long while, You feel harmony between the divine and the physical. Your body no longer feels like a cage. It feels like a collaboration. Spirit and flesh are no longer enemies, but partners in purpose. And somewhere, deep within, you sense the faint echo of divine laughter, not mocking, but joyful. Heaven is delighted that you finally see yourself as you were meant to be, a vessel of light shaped by love. The angels fade into the invisible once more, leaving behind the faintest shimmer of gold in the air. You close your eyes, breathe in the stillness, and know that the conversation in heaven has not ended. It has simply shifted into the rhythm of your heartbeat. Light lingers in the space around you. Though the angels have stepped back, their presence feels woven into the air like soft sunlight that stays long after the clouds pass. You move your hand slightly, and even that small gesture feels sacred. Every motion now carries weight. As if heaven itself watches with quiet affection, you remember their final words. This vessel belongs fully to God. That sentence continues to echo inside you, steady and gentle. You look at your body differently now. What once felt ordinary has become a holy instrument. And as your understanding deepens, gratitude begins to rise slowly at first. Like a tide returning to the shore, you whisper, "Thank you." Not because anyone told you to, but because your spirit can no longer stay silent. Gratitude pours out of you naturally, like breath. The room fills with quiet peace. You realize that worship is not always sound or song. Sometimes it is simply awareness, knowing that every heartbeat, every movement, every breath is a gift. The angel's conversation drifts through your memory. One spoke of scars, another of strength, and the third of surrender. Together, their message formed a living truth. Your body is not the aftermath of battles, it is the evidence of victory. You have survived things that could have ended you, yet here you stand breathing, healing, learning. The psalmist wrote in the book of Psalms, chapter 139, verse 14, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well." Emily, those ancient words touch you differently now. You finally understand them. You are wonderfully made, not by mistake, not by chance, but with purpose. The flaws you once despised are fingerprints of design. Heaven knew exactly what it was doing when it formed you. You take another breath, feeling warmth flow through your chest. Something inside you whispers, "Share this light." You realize the revelation was never meant to stay hidden. When light reaches you, it asks to travel further. When truth touches your heart, it longs to awaken others. That is why this message exists, not to entertain, but to remind. Somewhere out there, someone else is standing where you once stood, tired, disconnected, uncertain if heaven still sees them. Your sharing becomes a bridge. When you like, share, or subscribe, it is not about numbers, it is about carrying the flame forward, helping light find its next home. And if your heart ever feels moved to give, think of it as pouring a drop of oil into a lamp so the flame can keep burning. Every offering, small or great, is a ripple of light that keeps this sanctuary alive. It is not a demand, it is the gentle rhythm of gratitude returning to its source. It is not obligation, it is overflow. The same gratitude that fills your spirit will naturally look for expression. Maybe your gift is a prayer. Maybe it is a word of encouragement. Maybe it is a donation that helps this message reach another searching soul. Whatever form it takes, let it come from joy, not pressure. Let it flow like rivers returning to the sea, quiet, humble, yet powerful in purpose. You think again about your own journey, the nights you wondered if your body could endure another day, the mornings you still rose. That resilience was never random. It was the spirit inside you, reminding you that your purpose still breathes. And now, that same spirit invites you to become part of something greater, to keep the light moving. So take a moment. Sit in the stillness. Feel the pulse in your wrist. The rhythm of life moving through you. That rhythm is heaven's reminder that you are still part of the divine story. You are not just being healed, you are being used as healing for others. Whether through your words, your kindness, or your giving, you become a continuation of grace. You become a living echo of the message the angels spoke. This body belongs to God. And 8. Before the next section begins, let your heart whisper another quiet thank you. Let your gratitude move outward through a share, through a prayer, through an offering, through a heartbeat that chooses to keep shining. Heaven does not demand it. Heaven simply smiles when light chooses to travel. You were made for this moment, to remember, to restore, to release. And as you do, heaven records another act of light done in secret, another ripple in eternity. Your story continues. And somewhere above, the angels smile because they see a chosen vessel learning not only to receive light, but to become it. The night around you feels softer now, as if creation itself exhales in agreement with heaven's rhythm. The stillness carries peace, not emptiness. Something unseen continues to stir like quiet rain, watering roots beneath the surface. The conversation between the angels has shifted, but it has not ended. They are still near, still speaking. This time, about renewal. One of them whispers, "It is time to restore what pain has stolen." Another replies, "Let the river return to the garden." You realize they are speaking about your body again, not in judgment, but in compassion. They speak of the places where exhaustion once lived, where disappointment once took residence, and where the spark of faith flickered but did not go out. You feel the air begin to move. It is not wind, it is breath. A divine presence fills the room, invisible, yet undeniable. You breathe in, and with that breath comes something holy, a sense that life is being rewritten within you. What was heavy begins to lift. What was dim begins to glow. You do not see it, but you feel the unseen touch of renewal brushing over every part of you. The prophet Isaiah wrote in chapter 58, verse 8, "Then your light will break forth like the dawn, and your healing will quickly appear." Oh, that verse falls into your spirit like morning light spilling across the horizon. It tells you that healing is not distant. It begins the moment you allow light to enter again. God is not just healing what hurts, He is restoring what was lost, reviving what seemed finished. A gentle warmth spreads through your chest, and you sense that heaven is recalibrating you from the inside out. Every breath steadies, the pulse in your wrist beats stronger. It feels as if your body is being rewritten into harmony with divine order. Every cell awakens, remembering its holy design. You whisper quietly, "I am ready." It is not a declaration of pride, but a surrender of fear. The angels nod, unseen but present. You sense them placing invisible hands upon your shoulders. anchoring you between heaven and earth. One speaks again. The pain that lived in this body ends tonight. You close your eyes. Memories surface, times when pain whispered you would never recover. Moments when your body felt like a prison. Yet, in this stillness, that whisper loses power. You feel peace pressing into those very places where fear once hid. It is a peace that doesn't need explanation. It simply fills you completely. Healing is not always loud or sudden. Sometimes it comes like dawn, slow, steady, unstoppable. It creeps into the cracks of your being and lights every shadow. Heaven is not giving you back the body you had before. It is giving you new understanding of the one you have now. The angels begin to hum softly, a melody that vibrates through your bones. You recognize it as the same sound that held creation together at the beginning of time, the sound of divine order returning. You feel your heart sink with that song, your breath joining the rhythm of heaven's heartbeat. The light within you grows stronger, pushing through fatigue, erasing fear's residue. You understand that what you once called weakness was simply the body's cry for divine connection. You are not breaking down, you are awakening. You feel your spirit whisper words you did not plan. My healing has already begun. And as you say it, you know it's true. If your heart feels this quiet renewal, if you sense even a flicker of warmth returning to the places that once felt cold, comment 444 below. Not as a number for luck, but as a sign of alignment. 3 4s, symbol of stability, balance, and divine structure. By writing it, you declare that what heaven builds within you cannot collapse. You affirm that your foundation is no longer fear, but faith, no longer pain, but peace. You do not need to prove it. You only need to breathe it. Healing is not earned, it is received. The dawn has already begun, and the light is breaking through. The angels linger in silence, their light dimming into the horizon of the unseen. Yet their message remains carved into the rhythm of your breathing. Healing is not just what happens to you, it is what awakens within you. You feel your body respond, every cell echoing a sacred yes. The pulse of life within you is louder now, like a steady drum announcing rebirth. The old heaviness no longer fits where light now lives. This moment is more than comfort, it is confirmation. You are the evidence that divine restoration is real. Heaven has spoken, and your body has heard. The room feels different now. Though nothing around you has moved, the stillness has deepened, becoming thick with meaning. You can almost sense time slowing to listen, as though creation itself wants to witness what heaven has begun inside you. Every breath carries quiet strength. Every beat of your heart feels deliberate, as if divine fingers press gently upon it, keeping rhythm with eternity. You realize that you are no longer merely existing inside your body, you are beginning to live in it again. The tiredness that once defined you has become a memory, something that no longer speaks with authority. There is peace now, and it runs through you like light in water. Your body is not perfect, but it feels sacred. You understand now that perfection was never the goal, purpose was. The angel's song has faded, yet its resonance lingers. Their voices left an imprint on your soul, a melody that hums softly in your chest. You begin to understand the language of heaven is not always words. Sometimes it is sensation, heat, stillness, clarity, breath. You stand quietly, absorbing it all. And the Spirit begins to teach you without speaking. The first lesson comes as understanding. Your strength was never lost. It was simply buried beneath fatigue and fear. It has been waiting for this moment to rise again. You are not becoming someone new. You are remembering who you already were before pain spoke louder than truth. You look back over the path that brought you here. Every sleepless night, every ache, every moment you thought would break you, it all converges into one simple revelation. None of it was wasted. Even the pain served its purpose. It made room for compassion, for patience, for the kind of wisdom that cannot be learned through ease. The word of heaven, recorded in the book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And those words settle in you like a steady anchor. You feel their truth, not as an idea, but as power. The same God who upholds the stars now upholds your body. You sense that every part of you is being held, not just your spirit, but your muscles, your heartbeat, your breath. The hands that formed galaxies have never let go of you. A warmth begins to spread again. But this time, it feels different. It carries weight, not heaviness. It is the weight of presence, the awareness that you are not healing alone. Something beyond comprehension is standing beside you. Invisible, but unmistakably real. The very air around you feels alive. Your thoughts, slow, becoming quiet. The constant noise that used to hum inside your mind begins to fade. For the first time in years, you can hear the sound of your own peace. It is faint at first, but undeniable. It feels like walking barefoot on holy ground within yourself. You understand now that this is not about escaping your humanity, it is about redeeming it. The Spirit never intended for you to reject your body, but to inhabit it with glory. The same power that raised Christ now fills the temple that is you. The memory of your past pain remains, but it no longer stings. Instead, it becomes reference, a map showing how far you've come. The scars are no longer symbols of loss, but seals of endurance. They remind you that heaven did not remove you from the fire, it refined you through it. In that understanding, something within your chest unlocks. A deep sigh escapes your lips, not exhaustion, but release. The breath carries away the remnants of what used to define you. You realize you no longer need to fight against yourself. The war between who you were and who you're becoming is over. The peace that replaces the struggle feels like water after drought. Every muscle relaxes. Every fear softens. You stand in quiet awe, realizing that your body and spirit are finally on the same side. For the first time, they move together. You lift your eyes slightly, though there's nothing visible to see, and whisper into the unseen, "Thank you for staying." The silence that follows is not empty, it is filled with quiet affirmation. You can almost sense heaven smiling. The lesson of this moment is clear. You are not fragile, you are carried. Strength is not always loud. Sometimes it is simply refusing to give up. You have lived through nights that tried to erase you. Yet here you are standing, breathing, belonging, and in that truth, you rest. Not because the journey has ended, but because you finally trust the one who walks beside you. The angels have fallen silent, yet their message continues. Written now in your very heartbeat. You are held, you are healed, You are whole. The air around you hums with a sacred quiet. You can almost feel the universe inhale, waiting for what comes next. The angels are still near, no longer speaking, but moving. Their wings do not stir the air, yet their presence shifts everything within you. They are not outside anymore, they move through you, like wind through the branches of a living tree. You realize that this moment is not about visitation, it is about habitation. Heaven is not passing through, it is settling in. Your spirit opens wider, and something begins to rise from within your chest, a vibration. Soft but undeniable. It feels like music without melody, a tone that only your soul can hear. The sound seems to come from deep inside your bones. It pulses through your blood, weaving light through every vessel. You realize that your body is beginning to harmonize with heaven's rhythm. You are not only healed, you are being attuned. The angels watch, silent but radiant. Their light does not shine upon you, it radiates from within you, as if they are awakening what was hidden there all along. The sound within your blood grows steadier, stronger. It feels like every cell carries a secret message from creation itself. You were made to hold glory. As revealed in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, verse 6, I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am the Lord. And those words unfold inside you like the rising of a dawn that never ends. You understand now that the breath of God was not just a beginning, it is a continual act. With every inhale, He speaks life again. With every exhale, you echo His voice back into the world. You are part of the divine conversation that sustains creation. The rhythm of your heart aligns with this truth. It no longer beats from exhaustion, but from commission. Every pulse feels like a declaration. I am alive for a reason. The angel's light swirls gently, forming a spiral of radiance around you. You feel weightless, not because you are escaping your body, but because you are finally fully inside it, inhabiting the vessel you were given with complete presence. The past versions of you, the one who doubted, the one who hid, the one who feared, begin to fade like shadows at sunrise. In their place, something pure remains, not a new identity, but your original one, the one heaven always recognized. The divine image within you is no longer obscured. It shines through every gesture, every breath, every word you have yet to speak. You understand now that the body is not only the house of the Spirit, it is also heaven's doorway into the world. When you walk, heaven walks. When you speak, heaven releases sound. When you love, heaven extends its hand through yours. You are not separate from the divine flow, you are part of it. Inseparable. Continuous. The angels draw closer again, surrounding you like a halo made of motion. One reaches toward your heart, not to touch, but to ignite. You feel something like fire, but it does not burn. It illuminates. The warmth spreads outward, filling you with a strange sense of clarity. You can sense every part of your being, the heartbeat, the breath, the quiet electricity that lives beneath the skin, all moving in harmony. It becomes clear that heaven has never been far away. It was only waiting for alignment, waiting for you to remember. The walls between the seen and unseen grow thinner until they disappear. You do not ascend, the divine descends into you, making your body its home. You whisper without words, thanking God not for what has changed around you, but for what has awakened within you. This is resurrection, not from death, but from forgetfulness. You are standing inside the promise that has always been yours. The Spirit of the Almighty breathes in you still. The light within steadies, no longer blazing, but glowing with peaceful constancy. You understand that transformation is not always an explosion. Sometimes it is a settling station. The angels stand silent, their wings folding as if in reverence. And for the first time, you feel what they feel: holy stillness. Heaven is no longer a distant place. It has become pulse, breath, and motion inside you. The boundary between human and divine blurs until all that remains is one truth: you are alive, fully, gloriously, endlessly alive. The stillness remains, but within it, you sense a gathering storm, not of destruction, but of power. Heaven's calm is never empty. It always hides movement beneath the surface. You feel that movement inside you now, like the first tremor of thunder before rain. The angels are not speaking this time. They are waiting. They know what comes next must rise from you. This is not just a moment of peace. It is the beginning of purpose. The light that filled you in the previous breath begins to shift, to stretch, to test the edges of your being. You can feel it pressing outward, looking for expression. The spirit within you is ready to act. You realize that healing was never meant to end with you. It was meant to flow through you. Heaven never plants a seed just to keep it hidden. It always intends for it to bloom. The same power that restored you now wants to move beyond you, to reach places only your hands, your voice, your compassion can touch. Your body becomes a bridge, the link between divine intention and human reality. The angels know this, and they watch with anticipation, their radiance flickering like torches, ready to lead you forward. As Jesus declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 7, verse 38, "Whoever believes in me, as Scripture has said, rivers of living water will flow from within them." You understand those words now in a way you never did before. The river is not coming, it's already inside you. It was there through every season of drought, waiting for the stone of doubt to roll away. And now, as your heart aligns with heaven's rhythm, the waters begin to stir. You feel them rising, slow but steady. Peace becomes strength. Stillness becomes movement. The same breath that once healed you now begins to propel you forward. You realize that your life is meant to pour. The world does not need more noise. It needs the flow of something pure, something heaven-made, carried in human hands. The angels' wings open again, but they do not move. They shimmer, reflecting light like glass touched by fire. Their silence feels like approval, as if they already know what you are about to do before you decide to do it. The river within you continues to swell, filling every corner of your being. It carries memories, lessons, victories, and tears. It washes away what no longer serves the divine purpose: fear, guilt, self-doubt, and leaves only faith. You realize then that the greatest battle was never outside you. It was always within the struggle to believe that you are more than what the world told you. But now the war is over. Heaven has taken its rightful place within your heart, and the river flows without resistance. You lift your eyes, though you don't know where to look. You feel the presence of the one who began this journey with you. His voice doesn't thunder, it whispers through the current of your spirit. Now, pour out what you carry. There, the words are not a command, but an invitation. You understand that to pour is to live, to hold is to stagnate, but to give is to remain alive. The water within you is meant to flow to reach those who thirst for the same light that once saved you. If your heart feels this flow, if you sense the current of something greater rising within, comment, let it flow. No, say it not as repetition, but as release. When you write those 3 words, you agree with heaven's design for you. You are saying that you will not hold back what has been placed within. Let it flow means you are ready to speak, to forgive, to move, to love without fear. It means that the river in you has found its course. The angels begin to move once more, their wings tracing circles of light around you. You realize they are not leaving, they are guiding the flow, ensuring that what starts here reaches everywhere it's meant to go. This is the beginning of divine motion. The current has been released, and as it flows from your life into the world, you finally understand you were never called to be a reservoir. You were made to be a river. The angels rise higher now, their light bending into a path that stretches beyond sight. The flow within you follows, carrying every spark of healing toward its next destination. This is not farewell, it is fulfillment. The river in you is heaven's message, continuing through motion. Wherever you go, every act of love becomes another drop returning to eternity. The current that began in your spirit has not stopped moving. It has become a quiet river running through your days, carrying fragments of heaven into everything you touch. You wake differently now, not in the rush of old worries, but with the awareness that you are part of something vast. Every breath, every gesture, every word feels stitched with purpose. You are no longer trying to survive the world. You are helping to restore it. The air around you seems to shimmer with hidden order. You can sense the unseen pattern, connecting all things: the kindness of a stranger, the laughter of a child, the sunlight warming your hands. Everything feels connected to that same divine pulse you carry within. The angel's presence has faded into the rhythm of daily life, but you still feel their fingerprints everywhere. They have not gone, they have simply moved into everything that surrounds you. You realize now that the transformation of your body was only the beginning. The true miracle is not what happened to you, but what continues to happen through you. Heaven didn't just heal you, it appointed you as a carrier of restoration. Every smile you share, every word of hope you offer, becomes a seed of light falling into another soul's soil. It is written in the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 14, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." Those words no longer sound distant or grand, they sound personal. You are the city. You are the lamp. Your life itself is the hill that others can look toward when their nights feel too long. You realize that light is not meant to compete, it's meant to multiply. When one flame shares with another, the room only grows brighter. That is why your presence matters. The moments when you speak life instead of fear, when you choose compassion instead of bitterness, you become proof that divine light still walks the earth in human form. You do not have to preach it, you simply live it. And yet, even light needs to be tended. A candle left unattended eventually dims, not because it failed, but because the air around it grew too still. The flame in you also needs breath, reminders, fellowship, connection to keep burning strong. That is why staying connected matters. When you like, share, or subscribe. It is not a transaction. It is the gentle act of adding breath to the flame. Each click is a ripple of agreement, keeping the current of light alive in the digital sea. Every share becomes another lantern carried into someone's night. It is not about numbers. It is about keeping the fire moving forward, from heart to heart. And if your spirit ever feels moved to give, imagine it as pouring water into the river you helped awaken. Your generosity becomes a bridge, something that carries this message beyond borders, languages, and screens. What you offer doesn't vanish, it flows. It becomes the oil that keeps the lamp glowing, the ink that continues heaven's story on new pages. Giving is not an obligation, it is participation. Just as rain never asks permission before blessing the earth, your act of kindness becomes rain to another soul. You are free to let it fall, free to let it nourish, free to let it move where it is most needed. You think back to the first time heaven whispered to you, "I need your 2 minutes." You did not know then how far that moment would carry you. Now you stand here, not as a listener, but as a light bearer. The same voice that called you has begun to speak through you. The river has found its course, and it moves with steady grace. So, as you listen now, breathe in gratitude. You are part of a living network of light. Each soul a spark. Each act a reflection of divine generosity. Your story is one flame in a constellation. But together, the glow becomes guidance for those still finding their way. You were never asked to shine alone. You were invited to shine together. When you like, when you share, when you support, you become co-authors of light itself, not forced, not demanded, simply free. The angels call it worship through action, the kind that leaves no smoke, only illumination. You look upward and whisper, "Let this light never fade." And somewhere above, heaven answers, "Not as long as it keeps being shared." And your hands, your heart, your giving, these are not small gestures. They are sacred echoes of the same breath that began creation. And as the light within you continues to burn, the world itself becomes a little brighter because you chose to keep it alive. The days that follow feel different, yet nothing obvious has changed. The world moves as it always has. Traffic hums. People rush. The sun rises and falls, but something within you no longer follows that rhythm. You move slower, more aware, as if you've stepped into the same song, yet learned a deeper melody hidden beneath it. The ordinary has become extraordinary simply because you see it differently now. You begin to notice details that used to blur together: the way sunlight dances on water, the way a breeze feels alive, the way laughter seems to ripple through space like energy. These small things are no longer background noise, they are reminders. Each moment whispers that you are still being sustained by unseen grace. There are no more flashing lights or angelic voices, but you sense their presence all the same. They have moved from the realm of the visible into the fabric of your daily life. Every quiet nudge toward kindness, every sudden peace that replaces panic, every small miracle you cannot explain, these are traces of their wings still brushing against your world. You begin to understand that divine communication doesn't always come through thunder or fire. Sometimes it comes through ordinary rhythm, the heartbeat, the breath, the silent conviction to keep going. Heaven speaks in consistency. It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply remains, The Spirit starts to teach you through stillness. You learn that rest is not laziness, it is worship. You learn that silence is not absence, it is preparation. And you learn that peace does not always mean quiet surroundings, it means quiet inside chaos. You realize that the same Spirit who moved through angels now moves through your endurance, as written in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 31, verse 8. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. M3. Those words rest upon you like a warm cloak. You understand now that the presence of God was never about visible miracles. It was about faithful nearness, even in the unseen. He walks beside you. You begin to feel him not in grand gestures, but in the subtle strength that carries you through ordinary days. The lessons of heaven unfold gently. You were not healed to escape the world, but to live within it differently. Holiness was never meant to pull you away from life. It was meant to deepen how you experience it. You start to see divinity not as something separate, but as something woven into everything: the laughter of friends, the taste of water, the sound of your own steady breath. You also learn that transformation requires maintenance. Light needs tending. You notice moments when old habits try to return: fatigue, fear, impatience. But now, instead of collapsing, you pause, you breathe, you remember. The difference is not that you are never tested again, it is that you no longer face the test alone. Each day becomes a quiet conversation between heaven and earth. You carry the sacred in your mundane tasks: the washing of dishes, the steps on pavement, the small prayers whispered between errands. This, too, is worship. The angels smile when you live like this, because they know the truth. What was once occasional revelation has now become continuous relationship. There will still be storms, but you no longer panic when clouds gather. You've learned that storms don't come to destroy light, they come to prove it. You've learned that even in exhaustion, you can still glow. And you've learned that joy is not the absence of sorrow, it's the decision to keep shining anyway. You feel stronger now, not because everything is perfect, but because you finally understand your foundation. You have been rebuilt from the inside out. Heaven is no longer an occasional visitor, it has taken permanent residence within you. In the stillness of another evening, you close your eyes and listen. Somewhere deep inside, your heartbeat continues, the same steady rhythm it always had. But now you hear it differently. It sounds like the echo of God's own promise: I am here. That promise has become enough. You don't need visions or signs to know that you are held. You carry peace in your pulse, assurance in your breath. And as the day fades into night, the light within you glows, steady, quiet, unwavering, eternal. The stars above seem closer now, as if recognizing the same light that burns within you. Heaven and earth no longer feel apart. They move in harmony. You rest in this truth. Peace is not found by searching outward, but by remembering inward. The divine pulse within you will never stop speaking life. The days begin to unfold like pages in a living book, each one written in light and quiet purpose. You start to see that everything, your breath, your footsteps, even your waiting, is part of a sacred pattern. Heaven has not stopped speaking, it has simply changed the language. Now, it speaks through rhythm, through the grace of ordinary days. Morning light touches your skin differently. It feels personal now, as if sunlight has memory and knows your name. When you move through the world, you no longer rush to find meaning, you carry meaning with you. The divine conversation between body and spirit continues, steady and unbroken. There are still moments when shadows return, when doubt whispers, when old wounds try to reintroduce their voice. Yet even then, something inside you stands still, unshaken. You recognize the difference between attack and echo. The echoes of old fear no longer move you because peace has learned your address. You remember what the angels said about your body, that it is not a cage, but a covenant. That truth has deepened in you. Your body no longer feels like something you endure, it feels like something you inhabit with purpose. Step feels like obedience. Each breath like agreement. According to the book of 3 John, verse 2, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. You let those words rest upon your heart. They are not just a wish, they are a declaration of divine alignment. Heaven desires your wholeness, not just your belief. Health of spirit, mind, and body. They were never meant to live apart. You realize that prosperity is not measured in wealth but in peace, in harmony between what is seen and unseen. You begin to feel this harmony physically. Your breath no longer feels shallow, it moves deeper. Freer. The weight that used to press on your shoulders has lifted. It is as if every part of your being has found its rightful rhythm again. The divine presence does not come and go, it dwells. You notice how your environment begins to respond. Conversation carry more depth. Strangers smile at you for no reason. Even the air around you seems more alive, as though it recognizes heaven's echo within you. This is the overflow of alignment, when what is healed within starts to heal what surrounds you. The angels stand quietly in the unseen, watching your awareness bloom. They do not intervene because now you are walking in understanding. They speak only when needed, whispering reminders like wind through leaves. Stay steady. Keep walking. The light within you is trustworthy. You begin to realize that the divine flow within you does not need effort, it only needs permission. When you allow peace to move, it multiplies. When you breathe with intention, heaven breathes through you. When you walk in compassion, the world bends slightly closer to grace. And yet, with all this light, you remain beautifully human. You still feel, still weep, still question at times. But even your questions have become holy because they are spoken from faith, not fear. Heaven is not threatened by your wonder, it delights in it. Curiosity, after all, is another way of reaching for God. You pause and listen. Beneath the hum of the world, there is a quiet pulse, steady, faithful. It is not outside you, it is you. The Spirit's rhythm now beats inside your own. The Creator's breath still animates your being. And you finally understand that every inhale is participation in creation itself. This realization humbles you. You are not trying to become divine, you are remembering that you were made from divinity, dust touched by breath, humanity kissed by eternity. You exist as proof that heaven and earth can share one form. If your heart feels this harmony, if you can sense heaven's rhythm aligning within your body, comment 333 below. Write it as a sign of recognition, not superstition. 3's body, soul, and spirit moving in divine unity. It is the number of completeness, a reminder that you are not divided but whole. When you write it, you declare, "My alignment is not temporary, it is eternal." The angels will record it as agreement, a symbol of balance restored. You close your eyes and let that truth wash over you. You are balanced, not by control, but by surrender. You are whole, not because of what you fixed, but because of what you allowed. The river within flows calmly now. The angels smile, unseen but near. You are the living temple of peace. The evidence that heaven's design still works. The covenant of health, harmony, and holiness is no longer distant. It lives in you. The days continue to pass, but they no longer slip away unnoticed. You have begun to live with awareness. Each sunrise feels like a conversation. Each nightfall, a benediction. You sense that heaven is not only above you, it moves through everything, every sound, every face. Every quiet detail seems to carry a hint of eternity. You no longer search for signs in the sky. The signs now live within you. You've discovered that revelation does not always arrive as thunder or vision. It can be the soft certainty that meets you in silence. There is strength in stillness, and that strength grows each time you pause to listen. Sometimes you remember who you used to be, the one who moved too fast, who carried guilt in the body and fear in the heart. That version of you still whispers from time to time, but the voice has grown faint, like a distant echo fading with the tide. You are not at war with your past, you are at peace with it. Every mistake, every tear, every wound became the soil for your transformation. Now, you live differently. You walk slower, speak softer, and see deeper. Compassion rises in you naturally, not because you've been taught to care, but because you've been remade in the likeness of love. You realize that when heaven touches the human, the evidence is not in miracles performed, but in kindness extended, as revealed in the book of Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do. Emzend. Those words sink deep, not as instruction, but as identity. You were made for purpose, not to strive endlessly, but to move in the current of what was already planned. The good works were not demands, they were invitations. Every act of kindness, every word of healing, every gentle smile is a continuation of heaven's design. Your purpose no longer feels like pressure, it feels like breath, natural, rhythmic, effortless. You are not chasing destiny anymore, you are walking in it. The angel's earlier whispers return to your mind, and you realize their message was never about arrival, it was always about becoming. In the stillness, a new kind of clarity emerges. You understand now that purpose is not something you achieve, it's something you embody. Every time you choose truth over fear, peace over anger, love over pride, you fulfill your calling. You were never waiting for a grand moment of destiny. You were waiting to recognize that destiny was already happening in every small act of obedience. You look around and notice how your presence changes things. Rooms feel lighter when you enter, not because of something visible, but because of what you carry. People seem to linger in your conversations longer, as if drawn to something beyond words. It isn't you they feel, it's the resonance of heaven flowing through you. The body that once felt heavy now feels like a vessel in motion, a river carrying messages unseen. Every cell seems to hum with purpose. You have become aware of how spirit and flesh cooperate, how each heartbeat becomes a declaration of yes to divine will. This understanding doesn't make you proud, it makes you humble. You see now that greatness was never measured by visibility, but by availability. Heaven looks not for the strongest, but for the willing. You realize that your greatest power lies not in doing more, but in yielding more. You recall the beginning of this journey, the divine interruption. The voice that said, "I need your 2 minutes." You smile at the thought. You never imagined that 2 minutes could turn into transformation, that one divine whisper could awaken an entire identity, but it did. It changed everything. You close your eyes and breathe. The air feels familiar now, sacred in its simplicity. The world outside is still loud, still uncertain. Yet within you, there is calm. You are no longer reacting to life, you are responding to it. The difference is subtle, but the peace it brings is profound. And as you move forward, you understand that this is what heaven intended all along, not that you would escape the world, but that you would illuminate it. You carry light now not as something fragile to protect, but as something powerful to share. You are not the same as when this began. You are evidence that heaven can dwell in human form, and that light can live fully in flesh. The wind moves softly around you, carrying a hush of completion. Heaven's whisper remains in your breath, proof that divine purpose continues with every step you take. Night returns, quiet and tender, but it no longer feels like an ending. It feels like rest wrapped in purpose. You sit beneath the slow rhythm of the stars, feeling the weight of their light. Everything seems connected, the ground beneath you, the sky above, the steady pulse within your chest. It's as if creation breathes with you now. In one shared motion, there is peace, but not the still kind that makes you forget. This peace is alive. It moves. It watches. It understands. You sense that heaven is no longer teaching through visions or voices, but through communion, through the wordless knowing that your body and spirit have become one. You remember what was spoken before, that your body is not a vessel of shame, but a temple of light. You feel that truth settle deep, not as theory, but as presence. You can sense the divine within your flesh, the warmth behind your breath, the strength beneath your skin. It is no longer about chasing holiness, it is about inhabiting it. It is written in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 6, verse 20. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your body. That verse echoes through you, steady and gentle. It reminds you that holiness is not a punishment, it is a partnership. You were not redeemed so you could escape the world. You were redeemed so heaven could walk the earth through you. Every act of care, every word spoken in love, every movement toward truth becomes worship. You lift your hands and look at them. Once, they felt tired, tools of work and worry. Now they look different, as if dusted with meaning. These hands have held sorrow, but they have also carried healing. These same fingers that once trembled in fear now rest steady with quiet strength. You realize that your hands are extensions of heaven's own work. You lower them and press your palm to your heart. The steady rhythm there feels like prayer without words. It's as if God placed his signature beneath your ribs as a reminder, you belong to me. That thought no longer fills you with obligation, it fills you with awe. To belong to something eternal means that nothing temporary can define you anymore. As you sit there, time feels softer. The night moves slowly, and your senses sharpen. You can hear the whisper of leaves, the distant hum of the earth turning. You understand that creation itself participates in praise not through language, but through existence. The stars shine not because they are told to, but because light is their nature. You realize the same is true for you. To shine is not effort, it is identity. The divine light within you does not flicker with mood or circumstance. It burns steadily, untouched by fear. The darkness around you does not challenge it, it reveals it. You were created not to chase illumination, but to be it. There's a shift inside you then, a subtle but profound awareness. You begin to see holiness not as separation from the world, but as deep engagement with it. To walk through the marketplace, to comfort a stranger, to forgive an old wound, these are sacred acts. The divine no longer feels distant. It lives in these gestures of ordinary grace. The angels are quiet tonight, but you know they are near. They no longer need to speak because the message has already taken root. Heaven's covenant of light is complete within you. The Creator no longer hovers above your life, He inhabits it. You carry Him now in everything you are, in everything you do. You look up at the night sky once more. The stars do not seem unreachable anymore. They feel familiar, like kin. You remember that you, too, were made from the dust of galaxies, breathed upon by the eternal. You were always part of heaven's design, crafted from both earth and eternity. The night deepens, and peace folds over you like a blanket of light. You are not waiting for revelation anymore. You have become revelation. The temple is alive. The covenant is sealed. Heaven dwells within flesh, and that flesh is you. The stars above listen, their light echoing the heartbeat within you. Creation recognizes its own reflection, you, the living sanctuary where eternity quietly resides. Heaven is no longer distant. It breathes through you, speaks through you, loves through you. Every moment becomes sacred. Every breath a silent hallelujah. You rest, not in conclusion, but in communion. The divine has settled, not above, but within, and the glow of that truth will never fade. The night fades into morning, and light begins to spill gently across the horizon. You wake before the sun fully rises, but somehow you feel its warmth already. There is no rush, no striving, only presence. The air feels alive, as though heaven has left a window open. The silence is no longer emptiness, it is expectation. Something inside you whispers, "This is what peace sounds like." You stretch your hands, remembering the way they once trembled. Now they feel steady, patient, blessed with purpose. These hands that once reached for rescue have become instruments of grace. When you touch the world, it notices. When you speak, something soft but unshakable moves through your words. The angels have not vanished, they have changed form. They now appear as strength when you feel weak, as clarity when your mind is clouded, as courage when you almost turn back. They are the invisible architecture of faith that holds you upright even when you forget to try. You think about the countless hearts still walking through their dark nights, unaware that heaven is waiting for them to look up. The memory of your own darkness returns, not to haunt, but to humble. You realize how many times grace came quietly, wearing ordinary faces, kindness from a stranger, a song at the right moment. an unexpected word that steadied you when you were slipping. None of it was coincidence. It was the same light that now lives in you, reaching through others until you could finally stand. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Galatians, chapter 6, verse 9, "Let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we shall reap, if we do not lose heart." You feel the truth of that verse vibrate through you. Doing good is not about grand gestures, it is about persistence. It is sowing even when the soil looks dry, speaking life when silence seems easier, choosing mercy when the world chooses mockery. The harvest is never immediate, but it always comes sometimes quietly, like sunlight finding its way through leaves. You begin to sense a quiet invitation forming a call not from obligation, but from love. The light within you wants to travel further, to touch the hidden corners where hope still flickers. That is why this message must continue its journey. When you like, share, or comment, you are not clicking on a screen, you are opening a door. Each gesture becomes a ripple, carrying light into unseen hearts. Your action is not transaction, it is participation. You become part of the living chain of grace, one spark linking to another until the darkness grows thin. When you subscribe, you are not joining a list, you are choosing to stay close to the fire. The stories, the words, the whispers, they are embers, meant to keep the flame within you burning bright. Staying connected means staying warm, reminding yourself that faith was never meant to live in isolation. And if your heart ever stirs to give, imagine it as planting a seed in sacred soil. Donations are not payment, they are partnership drops of water, ensuring that the roots of this light keep spreading. Every offering, no matter how small, becomes a bridge of hope to someone who still waits in silence. You pose, letting those images settle. None of it feels like duty. It feels like beauty, like the way rain falls because it cannot help but give, or the way a tree offers shade without expectation. Giving, sharing, connecting, they are all the same motion. Love extending itself. The morning grows brighter. You feel the warmth reach your face, and something within you mirrors it. You realize that light does not need to be loud to change the world. It simply needs to remain. You think of the people who might hear these same words after you, the ones who will listen in their own storms and find the same stillness you've found now. You know that your act of sharing, your quiet generosity, could be the very spark that leads them home. You lift your eyes to the sky. The clouds are moving apart, revealing endless light. And somewhere in the invisible, the angels smile, not because you've done something required, but because you've chosen something beautiful. When you give, when you share, when you stay, heaven calls it love in motion. It is the way the divine breath keeps moving through human hearts. Never forced, never demanded, always offered. The sun rises fully now, washing everything in gold. You breathe deeply and whisper a promise to keep walking in light. The journey continues, not because it must, but because it can. And that freedom born of gratitude, sustained by grace, is the most sacred offering of all. The day unfolds with quiet grace. The golden light that poured over the horizon now moves gently across the earth, warming everything it touches. You walk through the morning as though it were a living prayer. Each step, each breath, each glance becoming part of the hymn creation is always singing. The world no longer feels separate from heaven. It feels like its reflection. There is a sweetness in the air that words cannot describe. The sound of distant birds, the whisper of leaves, the rhythm of your own breath, they all blend into one vast harmony. You understand now that worship is not limited to song, it is the posture of a heart fully awake. Everything that is alive worships in its own way, the ocean with its tides, the trees with their reaching branches, and you with your life. Your awareness has changed. How you see people, too. You notice the divine spark in everyone, the stranger at the corner, the tired mother in the market, the old man sitting alone in silence. Each of them carries the same breath that animates you, the same hidden glory wrapped in human form. It humbles you. It reminds you that heaven's fingerprints are everywhere, waiting to be recognized. As written in the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 11. The Spirit of Him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you. He who raised Christ will also give life to your mortal bodies through His Spirit who dwells in you. Those words pulse through you like a second heartbeat. They remind you that what lives within you is not symbolic, it is real, alive, and powerful. The Spirit that brought life from the tomb now animates your flesh. You begin to see your body not as fragile matter, but as a living flame, a continuation of resurrection itself. You pause in your walk and feel the wind brush your face. It feels almost like a whisper from the unseen. The Spirit is near, not in distance but in awareness. You remember how once you feared losing this presence, how you worried it might fade as the days grew ordinary. But now you know the truth. What is divine does not fade, it transforms. It does not visit, it abides. You've entered a rhythm of surrender, no longer fighting to maintain peace. You simply allow it to flow through you. Life still brings challenges, moments that test your patience, days that demand courage, but now you face them with a steadiness born of divine companionship. You understand that peace is not the absence of struggle, but the strength to endure it with grace. The angels remain near, silent witnesses to your unfolding. They no longer intervene because you no longer need saving. You have become aware of your authority. The same light that once spoke over you now speaks through you. You walk through the world differently, not as one searching for signs, but as one who has become a sign. Every act of kindness feels sacred now. Every moment of forgiveness feels like resurrection happening again. You are living proof that light can inhabit flesh without being diminished. You are evidence that eternity can bloom in time. The more you surrender, the freer you feel. You have stopped trying to hold on to moments because you understand that what is eternal cannot be lost. Love, truth, peace, they do not disappear. They transform and reappear in new forms. Like the river that never clings to its drops, you've learned to let life flow. You reach a quiet field, where the wind moves gently through tall grass. You stand there for a long time, eyes closed, listening. The world is not silent, it is singing. The grass rustles like prayer. The earth hums with promise. You realize that this harmony has always existed. You are only now tuned to hear it. You smile, not from euphoria, but from calm understanding. Everything around you is temporary. Yet within that temporariness lives the eternal. The Spirit within you interprets all things through love, and love turns every ending into beginning. The sky stretches wide above, endless and patient. You lift your face toward it, and for a moment, You feel heaven breathe through you again. It is not dramatic or overwhelming. It is simple, steady, true. And you know that this is the promise fulfilled, that God would dwell among His creation, and His creation would dwell in Him. The angels watch quietly from the unseen horizon, their wings folding in reverence. The light that once surrounded you now shines from within you. You are no longer waiting for heaven, you are carrying it. Evening returns once more, not as a curtain closing, but as a gentle reminder that every cycle holds its own holiness. The light dims slowly, and the sky begins its quiet transformation, gold fading into amber, amber dissolving into violet, violet surrendering to blue. The world exhales, and you breathe with it. Everything feels balanced, as if heaven and earth have agreed to rest at the same time. You stand still for a long moment, watching how shadows stretch gracefully across the ground. They no longer represent fear or absence. They feel like part of the same divine rhythm as the light. For the first time, you understand that both day and night serve the same Creator. Darkness is not punishment, it is pause. A sacred space where revelation whispers more softly. You close your eyes and feel the pulse of the world. Somewhere beyond the horizon, waves still rise and fall. Trees still sway. Stars still prepare their nightly song. You realize that creation has never ceased praising. It is humanity that sometimes forgets to listen. Now, your ears and spirit are tuned to the same frequency as heaven. The silence is alive, humming with meaning. The angels return, not with trumpet or flame, but with stillness. You sense them before you see them, the faint shimmer in the air, the soft warmth along your skin. They are not coming to deliver a new message. They are here to witness fulfillment. The circle has closed, and the promise has been kept. What began as interruption has become indwelling. As written in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, verse 3, Behold, the dwelling place of God is with man. He will dwell with them, and they will be His people, and God Himself will be with them and be their God. Those words move through you like a final chord resolving into peace. You understand now that this has always been the destination, not to visit heaven, but to become its dwelling. The eternal has found home, not in temples of stone or clouds of glory, but in flesh, in breath, in you. The angels step closer. One of them carries a book, luminous and weightless. It is not paper, not ink. It is light in form, memory given substance. As the pages open, you glimpse threads of your journey woven through it, moments of surrender, tears that watered the soil of your becoming, small acts of faith that shifted unseen realms. Each page glows with testimony. The angel looks at you not with superiority, but with tenderness, and says, without sound, Heaven has recorded your yes. The words do not enter your ears, they enter your being. You understand that every time you chose light over bitterness, every time you stood when it was easier to hide, every breath you took in faith was written here. This is not a book of judgment, it is a book of remembrance. You feel tears gather, not of sadness, but of reverence. It is humbling to know that even the smallest moments mattered. The heavens noticed what the world ignored. You realize now that obedience does not need audience. It only needs honesty. The angels begin to close the book, and light folds back into light. The wind stirs gently, carrying the scent of night-blooming flowers. The fragrance feels ancient, as if creation itself exhales gratitude. You breathe it in deeply. Something within you shifts an awareness that the divine story continues. Written now through your living. You are no longer merely a recipient of grace. You are its continuation. You look up to the sky one last time. The stars are brighter tonight, as if bowing to the presence of the one who dwells among them, and within you. You realize that eternity is not somewhere beyond the stars. It begins in the next breath, in the next act of love, in the next heartbeat that chooses peace over fear. The angels bow slightly before fading into the unseen. Their departure is not loss, it is release. They leave not because they are finished, but because their task has merged with yours. Heaven and earth now share the same purpose. Moving together through you, you stand in the soft dark, neither ending nor beginning, only existing in the stillness of divine completion. And as night fully embraces the world, a whisper rises in your spirit, a familiar voice, tender and absolute. This body, this soul, this moment, I reclaim it all. 1. The covenant is complete. The journey that began in interruption ends in communion. Heaven has spoken, and you have answered. And now, the story rests, yet it does not end. What began as a whisper from heaven has become a living rhythm within you. The angels have faded into light. The night has folded into dawn. And the words once spoken over you have taken root. You are no longer a listener at the edge of revelation. You are the continuation of it. Each time you breathe, the message continues. Each moment you choose kindness. The light moves farther. You were not called just to hear, you were chosen to carry. And as you carry, others will awaken. Just as you did, one heart at a time, one quiet yes at a time. If this journey has touched you, let your echo join heaven's flow. When you like, share, or comment, you are not performing, you are passing the torch. Every gesture becomes a small bridge of light, extending the same warmth that once found you. Your words, your engagement, your presence, they all help the message reach the souls still waiting in silence. When you subscribe, it is not to follow a page, it is to remain within the circle of grace. Each new message is another ember placed in your hands, another reminder that the divine still speaks through human hearts willing to listen. And if your spirit ever feels moved to give, let it be like rain falling on fertile soil. Donations are not obligation, they are continuation. Your generosity keeps this current of light flowing freely, ensuring that others may find the same quiet renewal that met you here. The angels smile from the unseen, watching the glow move forward. The story has reached you, but it doesn't stop here. It travels wherever your heart allows it to go.